Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Podcast. This is episode 10. Now, the Wednesday Podcast is where we make a big deal about the small victories in our life. Positivity is such a powerful tool to create a healthier life, physically, emotionally, and most importantly, spiritually. That is why every morning on Wednesday, every Wednesday morning, that makes better sense, you can expect to hear me, Matt, and my beautiful wife and co-host, Heather, talk about our wins the week prior. So we're going to go ahead and get in. Today's kind of a different little episode because we started out with the music, just trying to throw you guys off. But yeah, we're going to start out with our wins. And as always, I'm going to let Heather give us the rundown of her wins from this past week. Remember, this is Wednesday on Wednesday. So give us your wins, Heather.
All right. So this past weekend, we had the pleasure of going to Texas and getting to be on some other people's podcasts, and I got to speak to some ladies, and you got to preach, and we just had so much fun. So my wins were being encouraged and uplifted by other Christian women this past weekend, and they were so fun. So it was a great weekend.
We ate some really good Mexican. We ate way too much food.
Yeah.
So I had a small fast today to kind of reset the old digestive tract. And we had great food all week, all weekend. But some wins for me is kind of going along with Heather, great trip to Texas and back. We made the mistake of booking 2 5 a.m. trips, Friday and Monday.
Yeah, don't be like us. Don't do that.
It was a nightmare, but very uneventful. On the way home, though, we were sitting there, and it just so happened to be the day that we had the shortest layover. So we're leaving Abilene, Texas, to come back here to Alabama, and we have a 50-minute layover at DFW. And if you've ever been to DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, it's quite large. And so already 50 minutes, you're thinking, that's cutting it a little close. But we're sitting there on the tarmac, whatever you call that place at Abilene. There's only one gate. It's the coolest airport in America.
Smallest
literally
airport in America.
You come out of security and you're at your gate.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, we're like, we're not going anywhere. This is interesting.
For like 30 minutes.
And you look at all these like guys in orange vests coming into the plane, and they keep slamming the pilot's door into the cockpit. And you're like, oh no, this is not good. And so finally the little stewardess lady or flight attendant comes in and says, we're going to get this fixed. Don't worry, guys. And so they're just, I didn't see any fixing going on. I just saw the door being slammed and like they'd try to like jar it up and then slam it again. And I'm just like, this is awesome. And so I think everybody in there though was like, let's just throw some duct tape on that bad boy and let's get going. So we ended up being 30 minutes behind, but I think they caught up a little bit of time because we still got to Dallas about still like 45 minutes. Like we had to walk like 30 gates. We ended up at like gate 18, and we had to go all the way to gate 44.
Yeah, it was
45. Yeah,
it was calf burning.
Yeah, it was.
Moment.
Calf really burned.
Where you're not running and you're not jogging, but you're speed walking, so your calves are like on fire.
And Heather was already had a game plan.
I was beyond hangry.
Yeah, she was game planning like, I'm going to go grab like some Chick-fil-A or something or get a breakfast.
I needed coffee more than anything.
And so we were able to go to one of those little like walk in, get water and magazine type places. And she was able to get her one of those Dunkin' Donut coffee things and a granola bar, and I got a Monster water. So
yeah, I survived.
Yeah, I also realized we hadn't lived out in arid country in a long time. You dehydrate really quick in dry temperatures.
Yeah.
So Heather and I were constantly like thinking, where's the water? So we, because you live in Alabama and you get hydrated just from the humid air. So, yeah, but great trip to Texas. Also just really cool to make new friends. And it's just really cool that there are people in the church and, in Christianity that, we have no idea who they are, yet they're opening their homes to us and letting us stay with them. We got to stay at a hotel one night, which is probably good because we were zombies the first day we got there and probably wouldn't have been very fun to be around. So we stayed in a hotel the first night, but then the last 2 nights we stayed with a Christian friend of ours that we had just met that week, and it was awesome. So, yeah, shout out to Lacey and his wife, Jay, for letting us stay at their house. Super awesome. But yeah, we had a good time, and I'm excited. And I don't think I talked about this last week, but I read a book, so that's always a win.
Yeah.
I think I was talking about me finishing it. It was a book on talking
you did
about.
talk about it.
I did. Deconstruction.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read a new book now.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
You get done reading a book and you read another. I'm reading a book that I've read before that I need to reread because it's a great resource for me. The book is called Be the Dad She Needs You to Be. Obviously, I'm a dad of 2 girls, so always need to make sure I am the dad that they need me to be. It's by Dr. Kevin Lehman. It's a wonderful book. I've read it before. I encourage any dad of daughters to get it because ultimately we are going to be the husband that she marries one day. And so
You mean a guy like
they're going to
you.
find a guy like us to marry one day. So if we're going to be a turd bucket, they're going to marry a turd bucket. So yeah.
Do other people use that terminology, or is that just a me and you kind of thing?
I have no idea. We could be maybe we just started a new trend. But yeah, it was cool. And, I like reading, I think. So yeah, that's my wins. And, yeah, we want to know what your wins are too. We have a Facebook group. You'll see a post in there every week about what your wins are. We want you to interact because the more positivity we can put out on there, out in the interwebs, the better. Because probably most of the time your Facebook feed could be negative. So let's be positive together. By the way, we're recording this at 9:00 at night. So we didn't stick to our trend about
Yeah, we failed
midday.
already.
Yeah. Let's be positive.
Oh, sorry.
Why did we not get to film earlier today?
I don't remember today.
What did we do today?
Packed for the next trip.
Yes, we're going to Oklahoma this next weekend, which this is going to be really cool. We're going to do some guest appearances from some people. We're going to actually record 3 different shows while we're out there with three other couples. One of them will be the origin story of Matt and Heather because we're going to be staying with Clinton Kenya Olsen, which are pretty much like our adoptive parents. They are the ones the couple that brought me and Heather to Christ. I worked for them for a very long time. Heather often gets confused as Kenya's daughter. So you'll get to hear from them, and we'll have some funny stories and stuff along those lines. It'll be a fun episode. And then we're going to have 2 other couples on there. I'm excited about these other 2, but we're not going to say their names until the episode. So you'll have to wait. But it's going to be really fun. We are leaving Thursday morning at 4 a.m. to drive 13 hours with 2
I thought it
children
was 11 hours.
to Oklahoma City. So we're going to Winoka, Oklahoma, which nobody knows where that is. Sand dunes.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a family seminar out there to encourage people to have a faith-filled family. Really excited about that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Be on the Facebook group. Answer a few questions. The questions are you going to be negative? Or I think it's the opposite of that. Do you promise to remain positive? So if you answer them right, we'll let you in.
Okay. Can we
Okay.
get to my list now?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got something.
Well, I have
You
a
can
lot.
go first, though.
I have a whole list.
Okay.
And you've been talking. Anyway, so back to airplanes.
Oh, this is funny.
Flying, awkwardness, and etiquette.
Ah,
Snoring on a plane.
this is funny.
Is it wrong if it is a 4 a.m. flight, 5 a.m. flight, if somebody next to you is snoring who is not your spouse, is it wrong to shake them? When the rest of the plane is wanting to sleep, but you're snoring and nobody else can sleep, and I'm already hangry and have not had coffee, like a sufficient amount of coffee to be like personable, is it wrong to shake somebody to let them know that you're snoring and all the rest of us cannot sleep? Is that wrong? Give me your thoughts. I'll ask that in the
At
group.
what decibel level are you allowed to? Okay.
Like, what if I
I'm
just
going to let
poked him?
everybody know I didn't hear the guy. You know why? Because I had my AirPods in. And
I don't have new AirPods
it
like
doesn't
you.
matter. Those AirPods they cancel out this same amount.
No, they don't.
I didn't even have them in noise cancellation mode. Thank you.
But mine don't have that little
I couldn't hear the guy.
thing on them.
But I also was a seat over, so
Yeah.
I didn't hear him. But yeah,
And then awkward conversations.
yeah, there was some weird conversations. Have you ever been in those okay. Heather, what's your strategy for getting out of weird conversations? And you're trapped in a seat and can't leave.
I just had the best idea. So, where this came from was there was a guy next to me. Like, I sat in the aisle
Yeah.
both
Paint him a
times.
picture.
And the guy next to me, like across the aisle, he like segued himself into this crazy talk about the problems of religion with this poor young boy that was like 20 years old. And it was the funniest and saddest, most awkward conversation this kid could have ever been in. And if I was that guy, I mean, I was just like, oh, how do you even get yourself out of that? And I think I would have been like, I think I'm about to have diarrhea. And you would force yourself over the side of him to
Yeah.
get to the bathroom and then just go and sit in the bathroom for a hot minute and then come back. And then the guy would probably think that you have diarrhea issues and he might stop talking to you.
That guy would have thought there was demons in you, knowing the guy that was talking next to you.
Yeah, we're not going to get into what he was talking about because it was wild, but that was my first flight's awkwardness.
Yeah.
But I don't know. How else would you get out of an awkward conversation? Just say, I
would honestly, if I felt awkward, which I don't mind awkward conversations, but you could tell, okay, so like you could definitely tell, or at least I can, this guy knew, like the little feller that was talking to this other guy that didn't want to be, like, so there was a big feller and a little feller. The big feller was making the weird conversation be weirder. And nothing like bad, but you could tell this little feller was like, oh, I do not want to be in this conversation anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was just really bad. And so how I would do it is, first off, I would probably, and just this is kind of a blessing of being in ministry. I know kind of where to go and not to go with conversations.
The kid didn't say anything.
Yeah. Well, he
told
started
him-
asking like
He was
religious
like,
questions.
No, he didn't. He
Yeah.
said, wow, what do you do? Hi. No, he starts it off, hi. What do you do for a living?
Oh, my.
And he goes, you're really jacked.
Yeah.
How old are you?
You look
like,
good.
You look good. Like, you look good for your age.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how it segued
He got into religion.
but it somehow did. And
Yeah.
it was like the funniest thing. Like the guy the little guy was just like trying to
He
make
looked
small
sick.
talk.
Like, yeah, he was like, oh no, I have gone the wrong direction.
Yeah, he was just trying to make small talk of, so where are you headed? Like, what do you do
Yeah.
for a living and stuff like
I would
that?
have probably said, since I have my backpack with me, I have like an out. I could pull my computer out and say, I've got to work. And I'd pull up a spreadsheet or something and put earbuds in and, I don't know, work on taxes or something. And just be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I have a presentation that I have to do. And like,
So then he
a
would be
day.
reading your presentation and he
Yeah.
would have a whole world of stuff to
Yeah.
say about it.
that'd be funny.
I felt so bad for that kid. And like my only thoughts just went to just get diarrhea
Yeah.
so that you can run away. And then on our second flight headed there, I think it was headed there was like a young family with babies.
Yeah.
And Matt and I got into the conversation of, wow, how do you fly with more than 2 kids
Yeah.
or like more than 1 kid? And
Well, more than 2.
or like more than 2.
Because then you like,
How
think
do you-
about it.
Who
So
sits with who?
we flown on American Air. We flew. I have like hiccups / burping. So we flew on American Airlines, and they have the 2-seaters on either side. And I was like, okay, so let's say you have 3 kids out of none of them are lap sitters anymore. So who's sitting with who?
You put them all in a row.
2 oldest together, then youngest with mom, and then dad sits by himself?
Yes, but in arm's length.
Or mom sits by herself? Nah.
Nah.
No, we better not let her have that freedom.
But whenever I see like moms with babies on the plane, like she had like a toddler and a baby and then dad, and then there was another one. And the baby was being like loud, but not crying, just being loud.
Yeah.
And the toddler, I think, was really bored. And I have so many kid movies on my iPad. I so badly wanted to be like, hi, I don't know if this will help, but I've got Bluey on my iPad if you allow your kids to watch Bluey and if that would help you. But I do need my iPad back at the end of the flight. Like I thought about it a few times because I did not have AirPods or anything going.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there.
So that leads me into the next thing. Let's segue into it. Since you just talked about it.
Yeah.
Bluey's last episode. The Sign.
I haven't watched it all the way. Don't talk about it.
You watched the most important part. You
I
watched the
didn't watch it
ending.
all the way.
You watched the ending.
I didn't watch it.
You didn't miss much from the beginning.
Yes, I
They
did.
just set up the story. It was like, I don't know why, but Bluey is like the most applicable show. Like, whoever writes Bluey is a genius because they took real life and turned it positive. Like, they took real life drama and they showed a real life family in the form of dogs. And like, so the whole last Bluey episode is they're moving. And the sad part about it is, what's his name? Bandit says the dad was like, we're moving because we're going to make more money. I'm going to make a better life for you. And then like Bluey's like, but we already have a good life. And not to get too deep on this podcast, but it's like, man, I wonder how many times we do that same thing.
Yeah.
And so by the end of it, the people didn't want their house. They'd already sold it. They moved all their stuff out and they were leaving. But then they got a call that was like, we don't want to buy that house anymore. We found. And so like Heather and I were crying. Even Georgia was crying.
Georgia was bawling. She cried
Yeah.
again today when she watched it again.
That movie.
And I still didn't get to sit down and watch
that
all
show
of it.
is unreal. Like, wow. Yeah, and you just start thinking about how great it is going to be in heaven one day. So, yeah, that was Bluey's the best show.
Yeah.
I'm sad it's taking a hiatus.
Not for long. It's
Oh.
coming back.
Okay. Good.
I also appreciate the fact that they keep the young actors, the voices of Bluey and Bingo, secret. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yep. The only ones we know of are the adult ones that play Chili and Bandit.
Yeah, way to go, Australia.
Yeah, because they don't want to.
Australia, everything there kills you.
Yeah.
Except for Bluey. It's amazing.
I mean, some people find controversial things with Bluey no matter what. There is one part that I caught on to today that I never caught on to before about Winton.
Who's Winton?
He's the little like bulldog friend in the classroom. This is the one scene I did see, and I don't know if I should even say it. I don't know if it's that controversial, but it was sad at the same time.
Well, his parents were getting a divorce.
Well, his parents are already divorced, and he said his dad was lonely because his mom left.
That's so sad. But again, Bluey is like real life. Like, it's unreal how they made a show like that and how everything is so real. That is amazing. Yeah.
But it was just sad because he was sad for his dad being lonely, and all the other kids were like, oh.
Yeah. It's real life, real
and
world.
they all felt bad, and it's like these are the real traumas kids face from that, like pictured in dogs.
Yeah.
Take that as a sign, parents.
So yeah, that was that. We'll move on from that. Let's look at positivity.
Okay, next, weird things. More airport travel things that I have thought about. Do any other husbands have these weird thoughts that when you go in public and you're somewhere that nobody knows you, Matt always says, we should look like we don't know each other. Like we're like business associates or something.
Or I just try to pick her up like while she's at the airport, like, hey, how's it going? You fly here often? Like, just use funny pickup lines around people so that they're like, what is going on next to me right now? Not knowing that we're married. So
like sometimes he'll be like, you should take off your ring so you look like a mistress or something. And it's like, no.
I would take off mine off too because I don't want to give off any bad vibes. But like if we were both like single people, like, and me come up to you and have the worst pickup lines and people will be like, and you'd be like falling for them and see if people are like, what is going on next to me? Oh, it'd be funny.
That would be funny. I do think we are like incredible. We are so much different together in an airport now than when we first got married, I think.
It's fun. I love airports because you can just sit there and people watch.
It's also the only time that I will watch a whole movie because I do not sit down otherwise.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, other things. Do other states have these interesting grackle birds?
Oh, okay. So Abilene, Texas sounds like you are legit in like
a rainforest.
Rainforest cafe. Like,
it is the weirdest thing ever.
But it's not a rainforest at all in that state. Or in that part of the state. You're picking your nails off and putting it on the table. That is disgusting.
Well, it had ripped or like broke.
So Heather gets...
I did these myself. These are just
Stop picking your nails off.
Anyway, it chipped. And once it chips...
She can't
I have to peel it off. So I'm going to redo them, but...
Yeah.
I can't just leave them like that.
All
they look janky.
So what is your favorite airport snack?
Favorite airport snack?
Yeah.
I usually try to... No. I have it.
Oh, and then you got to tell us about your legit meal you got at the Kelso's place.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So
really cool.
Favorite airport snack.
A good meal.
If you ever go to the Atlanta airport, this is totally not even an airport that we ever go to anymore, but I had a really long layover and at the Atlanta airport one time when I was headed to go see Matt when we were dating. And I got the best lobster roll I have ever had.
Gross. That is not a snack.
It's not a snack. It's a meal. And I don't remember what the place was
that
called.
Atlanta or Charlotte?
I think it was the Atlanta airport.
There was one time when I was somewhere and you were somewhere.
You were in like Montana or something.
Yeah, and so I was flying back from Montana because I'd gone hunting in Canada for waterfowl, and me and my friends drove across. We were in Manitoba, and we came down into the Dakotas and drove across the Dakotas planning on doing like walk-in hunting type stuff for ducks and stuff. So we didn't do any of that. We just ended up driving all the way over to Montana because me and another friend of mine had to get on a flight in Missoula. And so we flew out, and Heather was flying into Oklahoma at the same time, and we were supposed to be picked up by our Kenya, and I got there on time. Heather missed her connection flight in Charlotte because she was sitting there. Now, this is a pet peeve of mine. Airports need to jack them sounds up from those little desk people. They need to ramp those things up. But she couldn't hear that they had changed her gate, and so she was sitting at the wrong gate the whole time. And all of a sudden, the flight left towards Oklahoma City, and
I was stuck there for 6 hours.
Yeah, so I had to sit in Oklahoma City for 6 hours. But yeah, she made it there, and I was so happy because I love her, and I was super pumped. And she's still picking her fingers and putting it on our dinner table.
I'll wipe it down.
But yeah, airports are fun.
Yeah.
There's lots of stories you can develop at an airport.
Like
one
what?
time, you go.
No, you go.
Remember that one time we went on a trip? Was Josie? No, Josie wasn't alive yet. We got the pooping disease on an airplane.
Oh no!
But thankfully, we were on a Southwest flight.
So bad.
So we chose the back of the. Georgia had it like earlier that week.
She had it before us.
And then we got it like getting onto the plane.
It was so bad.
And we would like take turns blowing up the toilet. It was bad.
Let's talk about, so pooping diseases have hit us in Oklahoma. When we lived in Oklahoma, Georgia got legit like dysentery or something.
We all developed IBS while living in Oklahoma. No joke.
Georgia got like straight dysentery from her daycare.
Because we were drinking all that high intensity mineral water out there.
Yeah.
That stuff, we drink hard water like left and right, like it was going out of style. And so it just caused your bowels to flow a little quicker.
No, this was actual like some sort of pooping disease.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you'd call it. And well, that's what we call it at least, is a pooping disease. But we got sick a lot on that with whatever that was. And I don't know why.
There was a little bit there for every time we traveled. Heather and I always got sick. So that was the same little disease. I don't know.
It was. Every time we had to travel somewhere, it was like a sign that we did not need to travel.
Yeah.
But after we moved away from Oklahoma, it never happened again.
I like the smell of this thing. It smells new.
You're smelling your microphone.
What is okay.
That's weird.
This is interesting. What's a better smell? We're changing subjects, but I just thought about it after smelling this. What's a better smell? New car or new house?
New car.
Wow. Are you serious?
I love the smell of new leather.
New house.
But I do love new paint. New paint smell.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just thinking about that. But yeah, we good trips, good airport times, good airport stories.
I have a question.
Oh, what was the thing you ate? What was your question?
Why do people wear like no clothes to fly?
We need to invest in clothes, people.
Because airplanes are freezing.
Yeah.
Airports are freezing. So why are you walking around half naked?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I
Yeah.
just don't get it. Like when I think, okay, I'm about to fly somewhere. I need all the layers because that airplane is freezing and the
But even
airport
if it's
is
not,
too.
like people will have on a jacket, but then it's like underneath is like barely a shirt. And it's like, what is this? What are y'all doing?
It's like, how does this count? This doesn't. Like, why?
The more interesting. No, I'm not going to get on a rant,
Okay.
but I am. How can a husband let his wife dress that way?
I noticed that as well.
Like, what are you doing? I don't know.
We said that at the same time. Anyway, what did I eat at the Mexican place?
Yeah. So we went to a really legit Mexican place. Okay, backstory. Let me give you some context. It's always important to know the context. Heather struggles making decisions on the fly. One of those decisions on the fly is eating at places she's never eaten before.
Yeah.
She struggles with it. This is a serious problem in her life. And so she has to go last all the time. And this happened at Texas Roadhouse, but I know it happened because she'll be like, "Oh, I maybe want this," but then she's like, "Nah, I don't think I want that." And then the waiter will come back and be like, "All right, everybody ready to order?" Everybody's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "No, oh, I'm not ready." And then she'll pick like something totally random that she wasn't even thinking, but it was probably something that somebody else said,
I don't know.
like smothered chicken.
I know.
So,
it was good.
yeah.
It had mushrooms on it, so I'm going to want
I
it.
just have learned when we get in these moments, I just sit there like, okay, this is bad, Matt, but this is how I've grown in our marriage. But early in our marriage, I'd be like, Heather, hurry up, because I feel awkward for the person standing there.
No, it was drive-throughs that I made it really awkward
You did
for.
it at tables too.
I
And so
do?
we'd stand there. You just sit there, and I would just, now it's like, okay, she's like, I want the smothered chicken. And they're like, okay, what 2 sides? And I'm like, oh no. And I just sit there. I'm like, this is about to be awkward. And she'd be like, And 20
This is
to
so
30
accurate.
seconds will pass by, and she's like,
Because I don't think about the sides.
I want vegetables and a sweet potato. And they're like, I'm like, don't ask any other questions. They're like, do you want that sweet potato loaded? And I'm like, oh no. She's like, yeah. So I have learned, because I used to be early in our marriage, I'd be like, Heather, just pick something. I would audibly say that.
I know.
Now I internalize it all, and I sit there and I'm quiet because I don't want to start any arguments. But
Why would that start an argument? You used to tell me something to pick,
Yeah.
and now I've gotten into the habit, not almost 9 years later, of saying, "What should I get?"
yeah.
Because usually,
But then I'll tell her something, and then she'll go into her like freak out mode when the person shows up, and she'll be like, empanada. And we're
I
like,
don't even know what an empanada is.
Why would you want? I don't know. I just saw it right at the last second, so that's what I picked.
But I used to ask you, like, what do I get? Or what should I get? Or it would be like, you're copying me or something.
Yeah.
Like I would just copy you.
I'm a weird person though. Like if I'm gonna get something, like get something different so that we can try each other's.
I know. But I did.
Yes, you did. What'd you get?
I got a quesadilla of some sort.
It was like
it's like a beef quesadilla.
Yeah.
And it was like ground beef. But it was like a chalupa type of breading,
Yeah.
if you know what a chalupa is from Taco Bell. Taco Bell makes its way into every episode, I think.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it was like that, but homemade and like
It was deep fried, I'm pretty sure.
encased in it,
Yeah.
and it was not your average quesadilla.
Yeah, and it
was
wasn't like
next level.
it wasn't an empanada either. It was legit, like a legit chalupa shell, soft shell that they'd stuffed with a bunch of
enclosed.
stuff.
Yeah.
Closed it up, deep fried the outside.
So more like an empanada that they called a quesadilla.
Yeah. So it was really good. I tried a little bit
It
of
was the most amazing
really like-
breading.
I liked mine too. I had some sort of enchiladas that had some legit chorizo queso on top of it. It was awesome. It was a good place.
Yeah, it
The
was
salsa
good.
could have used a little extra oomph, but it was all good stuff.
Yeah, it was good.
Had a lot of Diet Coke there. And I don't ever normally get like drinks at places. But Yeah, that was a lot of stuff just then. I think we packed a lot into a 34-minute show.
Oh, wow. I don't know if let me see. Let me make sure I've covered all my things.
I'm good if we
Yeah,
don't. Like
that's
we
all.
can save.
That was literally
I found
all
some
my
really
notes.
fun would you rather questions, but we'll save those for.
Oh, and by the way, this is episode 10 this week.
She's saying I messed that up. But
You did. My
probably
notes
did. It was my
said
fault. As
there
always,
was podcast 9 last
husband
week.
tips. It's always your fault for right now. You know, though, husbands. You know whose fault it really is.
Your own.
Yeah. That's right.
Never blame anybody other than yourself.
There you go. Treat others how you want to be treated.
Therefore, take your own blame.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
I'm always right. Wrong.
I think our girls are asleep.
That'd be great. It's 9:30.
Yes.
I'm ready to
Awesome.
conk out too. We got a lot to plan for, and I got to finish up the rest of my family seminar lessons. What? She's looking at me like I've had these planned, like I'm supposed to have these planned 2 months in advance. I want a preacher to comment on this show and tell me you have stuff planned 2 weeks out or 2 months out. I have them all figured out. I overdo things. And so I already have all the lessons done, but then I go in and I make slideshow presentations for everything. I just do. I'm a visual guy. I like to help people be visual learners.
Me too. I like visual aids too.
So, yeah, that'll be the rest of our episode today.
Cool.
Tonight. All right, cool deal. Welcome. This is Wednesday again. Before we get off, remember the Ministry League app? I know they told me I don't even have to shout them out, but it's such a cool resource for people. It's got devotionals on it. It's
Studies.
got family Bible time stuff, studies,
Songs.
resources. It has a songbook on there. So like if you're out with a group and y'all want to sing some church songs, like awesome. They have a songbook for you. So
they've got
the
a whole bunch of
Ministry
other
League-
podcasts on it, not just ours.
Yeah, a whole network. I think there's like 30 something podcasts
Like
that.
Trey and Lee, Stronger Marriages.
Yeah, bunch of them.
Yeah. Bountiful.
No.
Are they on it? No.
That's on the Light Network.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so great resource. Download the app. That way you have it all right there for you. Encourage your friends to download it too. Heather and I will be speaking at their Ministry League experience coming up at the end of this month. So we're excited about that. We're going to be helping people understand kind of why Heather and I do what we do with this podcast in ministry in general. So yeah, we're thankful for them and everything they do. And yeah, I'm glad I brought it up at the end of the show. So
Cool.
all right, we'll see you next week. Have a blessed Wednesday. Have a Wednesday today on your Wednesday. Bye.